I bet it is. You should do that. All right, we are live. Here we go, everybody. Tuesday, November 12th. Big Tuesday slate. You and I have had little stuff so far, but today, a little bit different. We've got 8 games to go over. I'm excited about that. Normal intro. I'm Josh Engelman. If you've never been here before, this is Adam Scher. Nope. This is, got to point down. I point left because that's like where you are to me, but that's not right. Adam, what's up?
How's it going, man? Yeah, it's nice having an actual slate to talk about. The best part is that Lofty has to actually do some work on the article today.
He really does. It's going to be a really crappy day for him. Oh, well. He'll get over it. Shout out to Brandon Ingram. That news was awesome for me. I'm not mad about it whatsoever. I love the lack of late swap. Thanks to FanDuel for making my life easier because I'd have been real aggravated about having to fix it. How much Ingram did you have pre-lock?
50%, and I had him in cash.
Not fun. Not fun at all.
So very, very happy that DraftKings has late swap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet. Because obviously, like, ignoring the logistics of roster construction, you would have had 50% on FanDuel and been dead in the water. It's not like we saw that one coming and there was a way to, like, mitigate for it.
Yeah, and it's not like he was someone where I was just like, oh, he's at a great value on DraftKings, but I don't really like him. Like, he was one of my favorite plays on the entire slate.
Right. Yeah. I'm a very big fan of having one site that has late swap and another that doesn't. I think that anybody that gets mad about stuff like that should just play on the place where you can fix it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you, and I don't play on FanDuel.
Right.
Not specifically for that reason, but it doesn't hurt. But yeah, I mean, like, I would prefer all sites have late swap just for my own personal interests.
Right.
But yeah, I think that, the way it is now is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't want them to bring it back. I love the idea of putting my lineups in and then just going about the rest of my night, particularly since I'm usually asleep before the 10 o'clock games tip off.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to be around at 9:45 trying to fix that. That's perfect for me.
And I will be honest, when DraftKings took it away, like, briefly,
Yeah.
and I mean, I was very upset about it, and I do still prefer late swap, but once I got used to not having it, it kind of was like relaxing and nice to just be like, yeah, I'm done, like, whatever happens. But
you know the rules going in. If
Yeah.
that's going to help you just as much as it hurts you in the long run for random ones like Ingram last night, where there was no murmur of that all day. You're going to get the benefit of that on some days. You're going to get bit on some days. That's just par for the course. For guys that are questionable, you need to factor that into the way that you build your lineups. It's really that it. That's it. Like, I have no sympathy for it. Last night was a great one. There's going to be days where I'll have 55% of someone that's 10% owned and that guy gets scratched and I'm going to hate myself. Oh, well. I'm playing every day, so, like, it'll all come out in the wash in the end.
Yeah, I think the most frustrating part to me is just, like, the time factor. Like, I spend all day on this, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, all your lineups are dead.
That's a really good point. The best is, I'm terrible at remembering details for very obvious reasons. I had a situation where I got burned bad on the lack of late swap and ultimately still had one of those, like, 50 additional lineups break free and pay it all off anyway. Those are the feelings that are great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, when you write the night off anyway and then you still get there.
You wake up, it's like, oh man, I thought I was dead in the water and I 4x'd because this lineup broke free.
Yeah.
Speaking of lineups breaking free, let's talk a little bit about last night's excellent 8s on DraftKings. I've got lineup study pulled up right now. This is a feature of FC Pro. That is a paid add-on to any package you would want to get with us. But to me, an invaluable research tool. Chris Boucher, 61.5% owned on DraftKings last night. You were right with the field. Alex Baker, 34%. Not only that, second chalkiest player of the day, Russell Westbrook. You were slightly north of the field. Field was at 47%. Alex Baker, 22. I'm a little surprised to see Alex coming in so much lower than Russ. That seemed like a value play that he wouldn't have gotten away from. Obviously, he's not on here to figure out why. But you guys certainly did the same late swaps. 42.8% going to Drew Holiday. You both had 98%. Actually, Alex beat you by 0.7, so one additional out of the 150. Why is he so much sharper than you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Your exposure is looking pretty similar at the top there, too. You both had, basically 2x the field of Derek Favors. You were both slightly under on LaMarcus Aldridge. Kenrich Williams was looking like he wasn't going to be very good at all for a bit. I had like a staggering amount of Kenrich Williams, Josh Okogie, Jarrett Culver as my small forwards on FanDuel, and all three of them were like not exactly good.
Kenrich Williams is one of my like least favorite guys to be sweating when he's in my lineup, but also to be sweating when he's not in my lineup, because like he's not really involved offensively. So like it's not fun to watch him and be like, oh, he's gonna get a bunch of points here because he's like not gonna just start knocking down shots. But then like he gets so many hustle stats that when you're like, okay, I just don't need I need Kenrich Williams not to score 10. And then you're watching the game and he's like diving all over the floor, like grabbing rebounds, and it sucks no matter what side of it you're on.
For sure. Your biggest stand yesterday, obviously, Drew Holiday. Where were you previously to the Brandon Ingram news on Holiday?
I think 70%.
Oh.
He was my highest owned guy anyway, I think.
Okay. What about Favors and Kenrich Williams?
Williams, I definitely had less. I still had a good amount. Favors was one of my highest owned guys also.
Okay.
Boucher, I was at about the same point.
22 minutes for Boucher last night.
Yeah, exactly what I had. He was in a little bit of foul trouble.
Yeah.
The thing that really sucked, or not even sucked, but like that was frustrating for me was I actually had 10% Hollis Jefferson before late swap. Then it got down to 6.
Yeah.
But I had a rule not to have Hollis Jefferson and Boucher together, because that was a pretty counterintuitive thing to do if played them together. And then OG gets hurt 2 minutes in, and they the best values on the slate.
Gets hit with the old eye poke, which apparently is not great. I don't mean like it sucks to get poked in the eye. That's obvious, but apparently like it was also pretty bad.
Yeah. The one thing that stands out from my exposures, and I mentioned it to you before the show, when you're late swapping and you're taking a flyer on some guys, maybe take the time to make sure you don't end up with 18% Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
I'm looking at it now. You had he was in 464 lineups. So you had a big chunk of the Nickeil Alexander.
7 were mine.
Yeah. Incredible.
But like, I very much wanted to be over the field on him, and I would like by a considerable margin, because I thought that he had a really wide range of outcomes with Ingram out, and there was potential for him to be in the closing lineup as a scorer and go nuts at no ownership. I did not want 20% of my lineups having him.
Yeah. RHJ ended up being the highest point per dollar play on DraftKings, but I would imagine largely unnecessary. He went for 28 and a quarter at minimum salary. Probably not something you needed to have, I would guess. I haven't looked.
I mean, you did.
You'd like to have it.
Yeah, well, you didn't need it. He was 3% owned, and Boucher did like the same thing at 60%.
Right.
I mean, ideally, you would have had both. I was getting chased down by some teams with both, and it was really annoying me. But yeah, I mean, like Boucher came close enough where you didn't need Hollis Jefferson.
Right.
It just made you feel really smart if you had him.
Absolutely. Hey, I mean, you shouted him out. I mean, that was the natural pivot given the way that they had been playing and given that rotation from the previous game. Yeah. I didn't expect
Alex
Fred VanVleet getting like 47 minutes or whatever, though.
What did you say?
I didn't expect VanVleet to play 46 minutes and change.
Yeah, I mean, I gave him 38. I didn't.
Yeah. So how much did you have of VanVleet?
So I had, what did I end up with? I don't even see. Oh, there he is. So I ended up with 20%. I think I had before late swap like 25.
Okay. This was a guy that I got like 50, 60%. I didn't know what else to do with him. It was very clear that no matter what, he was going to be out there. But
yeah, the thing with VanVleet, and it was what I was going to say when you were saying that Alex only had 22% Westbrook. I mentioned it on the deeper dive yesterday. The pricing was so soft on DraftKings that you actually had to make some really tough decisions because, and I noticed it when I was trying to build my cash lineup. Like when you were just looking through pricing, you're like, oh, you need to have Aldridge, you need to have Westbrook, you need to have VanVleet, you need to have, at the time Ingram, you need to have Donovan Mitchell, and then it's like, wait, I can't get all these guys in the lineup. Yeah. Like you have to drop one or two, and so I'm guessing that. Like for Alex, it was, Westbrook was the most expensive of the group with a bunch of ownership. And so he just, got off of him. For me, I lost some VanVleet. After late swap, I lost a little bit of the Donovan Mitchell too. I think I had like 35% originally. But yeah, so it was, the pricing was so bad that you actually still had to make decisions.
Oh, for sure. Alex ended up at 2x the field on VanVleet. Aldridge was exactly what you would expect out of LaMarcus Aldridge. He hit the floor like you would never believe. 32 fantasy points. You were like, okay, that's what he's going to do probably. And he's at a price tag where that could be 50 pretty easily with the right bounces and a couple extra rebounds. Winning lineup. Guy had four lineups. Picked up $100,000 for it. D'Angelo Russell, Andrew Wiggins, who went pretty good and crazy there early. Jaylen Brown, Boucher, Favors, Mike Conley, Jaren Jackson Jr., who was able to stay on the floor long enough to put up 44 DK points, and then Drew Holiday. Nothing weird in that lineup to me.
Nope. Yeah, it was really good to see. I think Jackson played like 36 minutes or something and only had 2 fouls.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Those refs must not call fouls.
I'll be chasing that for the next 3 months.
I know that feeling. How did that Derek Favors work out for you, Josh? Well, good enough.
Let's say, were you not on Favors, or?
I think I was on Favors. I had. Truly, I don't remember. I had 57% on FanDuel.
Yeah, seems like you were on him.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I guess it worked out well. I don't remember anything that I do by the next day, so
yeah,
you're better off just telling me. My memory is garbage.
Josh, you hated Derek Favors.
You told me, you said very specifically that you had 0. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I thought you were not on Favors. Nope. Whatever I was on, I definitely say it at the end of Live Before Lock. I mentioned to everybody that I'm either like massively over the field on or just have a bunch of. Alrighty, let's dig in. Shout out to Yahoo Sports, the presenting sponsor of this show. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link into Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. You guys can check that out. There's some information at the top of the article that lets you sign up at Yahoo. So click the link, use the promo code AWESOMO. You can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. And maybe you can accidentally get into a single entry tournament and have it pay off pretty well for you, like I did yesterday. But sometimes you just don't remember what you click on. There it is, single entry, $50. Didn't even notice it. Kudos, Josh. Kudos. 30K baller going for the NBA tonight. $10 entry fee. 102 max on that one, but 5K to first. You can get in the NFL baller. That's 200K to first, 200K prize pool, 20K to first. They also have the 65K baller as well. You're going to pay less management fees than most of the places in the industry. You should find softer competition. I think it's a really great spot to get your feet wet, especially if you're a guy that doesn't play a lot of lineups, or if you're a guy that plays like slightly less volume. It's good for everybody, but I think that's a little bit better for you. So go check out Yahoo. Use Emacs article to get yourself there. Finally, you can use the promo code NBA Strategy when signing up. That's one big word. You can get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus, any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you want to see everything that we have to offer, we have platinum packages that cover all of our sports. NFL, NBA, NHL, golf is back today. NASCAR, soccer, MMA, we're covering it all. Check it out. You could use the promo code NBA Strategy on any package you choose. All right. We've got a lot to do. 8 games. You and I haven't had a slate like this yet. Pretty excited about it, actually, to really dig in. I'm just going to grab ownership now and we can get started. Any generic thoughts across the industry for today? Did you see anything that stood out to you?
No.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. Probably shouldn't even have threw that question out there. I knew better. All right. Yahoo, and then I am done. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Actually, I want to do one thing. 1450. You know what? I don't have a spot for it. I was going to try these timestamps again. Pacers and Thunder, 107.75 implied total for Indiana, 104.75 for the Thunder. Pacers are also going to be without Miles Turner again, without Goga, no Jeremy Lamb. So pretty similar to what we've been seeing over the past few games. We'll start on this Indiana side. We've got one guy that is heavy chalk on FanDuel. That's Jakar Sampson at 3,600. A little bit of ownership coming to Aaron Holiday, TJ Warren, Sabonis, and then Brogdon for 7,600 on DraftKings appears to be the best option. I think the 13.9 price tag on Brogdon on Fantasy Draft is also appealing. What stands out to you from the Pacers?
Brogdon for one. The price tag has come down. He wasn't really overpriced at 81 or 8,400 where he had been. It was just like a price point where he had to actually play really well to pay it off. And more often than not, he was, giving you around, like 5x or whatever, like a decent game, nothing great. But with it coming down now, he's just really underpriced again. Playing big minutes, still really involved offensively in a variety of ways. So he stands out as the number one option for me. We don't have news on Turner yet, right?
I was under the impression he was just out.
I thought he partially practiced yesterday, but I hadn't seen.
Let me look at the injury report to see if there's any updates for it.
Lamb is out, Turner's out, Batazi's out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes Sabonis again a really good option. You're just going to get tons of minutes at center. He's a monster when Miles Turner's not on the floor. So both of those guys, really stand out. Then you get down to guys that are decent values like Jakar Sampson. A lot can go wrong, but we have been seeing him get an opportunity to play. They don't really have a whole lot of ways around it. So I think that Sampson at 3,600 is reasonable. Yeah, he's I think the best of the cheap guys on Indiana. We've seen some good games from TJ McConnell, but his price tag's up to 4,400 on DraftKings at least. So it's still pretty tough when you're probably getting like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would say, what do you think of Aaron Holiday on FanDuel for 4,100? Popping up as one of my better values, like an even better value than Jakar Sampson, but I might just be mildly overrating Aaron Holiday.
I mean, I think he should get around 30 minutes. The problem is that when he's playing with the starters, you're just obviously getting less usage for him.
Yeah.
When he comes off the bench, he's a guy that shoots and picks up assists. As a starter, you're not seeing that quite as much. So I think he's an okay value, but I don't think it's someone that I would be getting in tons and tons of lineups.
Yeah, and without question, he'll be the second best point guard value today. We will get to the best one in the final game. On DraftKings, it's Brogdon for me, though. 7,600 is just too cheap of a price tag given his role in the offense, especially with Lamb and Turner out. Lamb in particular. Brogdon's going to just handle the ball a ton. So yeah, I'm fully in for Brogdon on DK.
And so one more thing, just to get back to my TJ McConnell point, because he was someone that when he was like 3,200 that I had pointed out as like a potential guy that could pick up a couple of extra minutes. And he's had a couple of good games since then. But I think that we should be hesitant about that because he's going to produce when he's on the floor. There's no real question about that. But like in the last game, he played 20 minutes. Malcolm Brogdon only played 29. So he's still not playing many minutes at all alongside Brogdon. So if you assume that Brogdon gets like 34 minutes, it's hard to give McConnell more than like 18, maybe 20.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, I gave him 20. That's about as much as I can do. And at those prices, he's going to come in based on randomness, basically.
Right. Yeah, I just think that a lot of times when you have players out, there's a tendency to just kind of like quickly look back and it's like, oh, TJ McConnell smashed the last two games. He must like be in a completely different role than he was, and he's really not.
No. On the OKC side, no one has ownership projected higher than 7% to Gallo on FanDuel. I think that SGA stands out, 7,700 on FanDuel, 7K on DK, $28 on Yahoo, which is probably the best price across the board. And then I'd be okay with a little bit of Chris Paul. He's cheap and essentially unowned, but I am not terribly enamored with Oklahoma City.
Me neither. It's a pretty slow Indiana team. I think that the center position's interesting. Like Steven Adams is questionable. Billy Donovan seemed to imply that he was fine, but you're either going to have Nerlens Noel at 5K on DraftKings or Steven Adams at 5,100.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the rebound opportunities that Adams has had. Even if you project him for like 28 minutes at 5,100, I think he ends up being a decent option.
We are on the same page there. I just don't really have anything else to add for OKC. It's not that kind of game. I have Adams in, and that will look pretty nice.
Yeah, I have some interest in SGA just because of the minutes, but it's the same thing that we talk about all the time. He's very scoring dependent, doesn't consistently contribute a lot in the way of peripherals, so he can give you some pretty empty stat lines.
Yeah. And that's why you're seeing no ownership coming to this game. Tough defensive matchup, low implied total. Not the best spot. We'll move to Philly, 112.75 implied total for the Sixers, 101.75 for the Cavs. That is the lowest of the day. No Al Horford today. Ben Simmons is questionable, so that'll be a pain in the ass for most of today.
I think he's probable now.
Oh, really?
I might have dreamt it, but
he is questionable.
Still questionable. Yeah, still questionable.
Wait,
I swear I saw him listed as probable somewhere.
What was that dream about Ben Simmons like?
Him and Garrett Temple, man. I think Garrett Temple might be from the fan vice days, but I had a random Garrett Temple dream.
I think it was last year, actually. Unless you were just told me that story again. But yeah, I remember you mentioning it.
I'd forgotten about it, but EMAC has brought it up the last 3 times we've done a show together.
How good of a shooter was Ben Simmons in your dreams? Was he jacking threes? Or was he jacking other stuff?
Just nailing everything.
Yeah. Anyway, this should be a pretty good spot for Philly. Cleveland defense, not all that great. Philly defense, even without Horford, should still be fantastic. Joel Embiid, 34% owned on FanDuel at 10.8, 31 on DraftKings. His best price might be the $46 on Yahoo. Let's just start with Embiid. I am not as interested as the ownership is.
I am.
Okay.
I mean, I just think he's incredibly mispriced.
So, I guess we need to kind of open it up to everything right now. Would you rather have Joel Embiid at 90? Okay, so 9,400 makes a lot of sense on DraftKings. I was looking more at FanDuel. That's the differences here. I think that price tag makes a lot of sense on DK. Would you rather have Joel Embiid for 10.8 on FanDuel or Jokic at 9K?
That was me. EMAC and I had kind of had a tough time with that one too. I think so. I think that I prefer Embiid by a little bit at their respective price points. If you're just thinking in terms of points per dollar, but I expect that when you're thinking about it more in terms of packing ceiling into your lineup, that $1,800 down to Jokic probably gives you a higher upside lineup.
Okay. How many minutes do you have for Joel Embiid in this game?
33, 34.
Okay. See, I have him in for 30.
He's in competitive non-foul trouble games. He's been playing a bunch of minutes lately.
He's played 36 and 33. He's got the 20, a 23, a 20. I know that Joel Embiid can play 34 minutes. It's almost a good thing that Tristan Thompson is healthy. Because I feel like he's more likely to be out there. It wouldn't surprise me if they just gave Kyle O'Quinn more run, as weird as that sounds. I'm nervous that he needs every one of those minutes on FanDuel. On DraftKings at 9,400, it's not all that. It doesn't really matter if it's 30 or not.
Yeah, and to be fair too, in that Charlotte game, he had some fouls, but he also just played a really weird rotation. He didn't close. Not that they needed him. They were up 19 with I think 5 minutes to go in the game, but Horford was out there, Richardson, Harris, those guys were out there. Embiid never got his final stretch in the fourth. He played a really, really short stint to open the third quarter as well. It wasn't foul related. So it was a very weird rotation, and you do get, I would say you get more downside minutes risk on Embiid than most other high, top tier centers.
Right. And that's part of the reason of me preferring Jokic is just that. If I had Embiid in for 34 minutes, this would look a little bit different. On DK, do you prefer 9,400 Embiid to $8,300 Jokic? He's 8,300. Oh my God.
I would like to get them both.
Yeah, get them both. Do either one of them have stupid power forward eligibility?
No.
Just checking.
So I think, at least using my baseline rates, I need to give Embiid 27 minutes on DraftKings for him to grade out as a plus value.
There you go. I assume, just based on the way we're talking, that you aren't all that interested in Drummond at $500 cheaper, at least relative to Embiid.
Yeah, not really. Unless Blake sits.
Right.
Like I think Drummond's fine. He's like Drummond's the kind of play where, back like 3 or 4 years ago when I was hand building like 5 to 10 lineups, I would play like 100% Drummond just because I know that everyone's going to play Embiid or Jokic. And if Drummond beats them, it gives me a leg up. But since that's not my strategy anymore, I'm more likely to just be making a bunch of lineups with Embiid and Jokic.
Okay. I really like Drummond again today. It's something I'm going to need to dig into.
I mean, he's got a nice size advantage.
He certainly does. Should be a good. He looked. So it was weird. I opened the FanDuel scoring like 3 minutes into the Pistons game last night, which was the only one on the slate. I took a really big stand on Drummond, and he had 2 points, a rebound, like an assist, a steal, and a block or something. He already had like 11 or 12 FanDuel points. I was like, yeah, we're like 3 minutes in. This shit is going to be great. And then he basically had the exact same stat line with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. And I was like, shit, this isn't going to be great. Salvaged into like a double-double with some stocks, and like, he was able to get there. But
yeah, first half foul trouble. He only played 29 minutes.
Yeah. So I am also a big fan of Drummond. Those three in particular are looking.
I feel like I kind of answered too quickly on not, because like I think he does project worse than Embiid and Jokic, but I assume that's going to be reflected in ownership pretty heavily.
You would be correct. Embiid
10%.
31, Drummond 10, Jokic 16.
Yeah.
I would just want to have more of all three of those guys.
He has the same ceiling as Embiid and Jokic. There's not really any question about that. He's got, isn't Bam like 6'9"?
He's not like tall. He's obviously a freak athlete, but
yeah. Bam's 6'9", 256.
Slightly smaller.
Yeah. Drummond is 6'11", 280.
Yeah. It's a nice size advantage.
Pace up spot too. Lots of rebounds.
Yeah. We will get to that next. If Ben Simmons is in 8K on FanDuel, 7,400 on DK, how do you feel about it?
Pretty good price tag. Cleveland's terrible, obviously, defensively. So, wow, 7,400 on DraftKings. Yeah, he would be a really, really good play.
I mean, at this point, can we even just say, wow, so-and-so's pricing here? I feel like it's every single person.
That's a fair point.
Tobias Harris, 21% owned on FanDuel at 7,300. Furkan Korkmaz is in the high teens on both sites. How do you think Horford being out impacts this team? And if Ben Simmons is out, what stands out to you?
So, I mean, if Simmons is out, then you're still going to see a bunch of minutes for Neto. You're going to see Trey Burke backing him up. Korkmaz has a more secure role without Horford. But the thing that I think maybe goes a little bit overlooked is that Harris should be in better rebounding opportunities without Horford.
Yeah.
He should be sliding down, playing a lot of minutes at the 4. And so, potentially he already plays big minutes, but potentially now you get him being a little bit more involved as far as peripherals go in addition to his scoring.
Okay. Just trying to look through. What do you think of Neto if Simmons is out? 4,800 on DraftKings, probably still mildly viable. 5,700 on FanDuel. I think you could just let that ship sail.
Yeah, it's just kind of at the DraftKings price tag. It's just like a completely neutral play for me. I expect around 30 minutes. In his time in Utah, he was around 0.85 points per minute. You're still playing with Embiid, playing with Harris, playing with another ball handler in Richardson. So, yeah, I mean, if you're getting like, even if you use the 0.85, you're getting like, that's like 25 and a half points.
Okay. Any J Rich?
I think he's the least favorable price on DraftKings from this entire team. It's not that he can't beat a $5,700 tag. It's just that, like, I would rather have $6,800 Harris or Embiid, or if Simmons is in, Simmons.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of interest in Philly across the board. Like, I don't think, and I have Simmons in right now. Obviously, that'll change a little bit for guys like Harris if he's out. I'll have some Simmons, I'll have some Harris, I'll have some Korkmaz. Nobody's like breaking it for me. But Embiid would be the guy that I like the most. If he happens to be in the mid 30s in ownership and those other guys that we mentioned before aren't, I'm going to have a little bit more preference for those other guys because I think it's all really tight between him, Drummond, and Jokic. Cleveland. Highest exposed guy on either site is Larry Nance at 9% on FanDuel. I'm good. Did anybody stand out to you for Cleveland? This is a shit spot.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kevin Love is down to 8,200 on DraftKings, but like you said before, he's underpriced, but so is everyone.
Yeah, like he's
I mean,
$100 cheaper than Jokic. I'd want Jokic by
Ex-
a mile.
right. Tristan Thompson should play a bunch of minutes.
He should.
Like, it's tough to be prioritizing $6,700 Thompson over any of Embiid, Drummond, Jokic.
So with Embiid's propensity to draw fouls, is there any potential for like a backup center option for Cleveland today?
Like Larry Nance.
Yes.
I mean, potential, yeah, but nothing that is changing the way I approach it.
Right. I just want to see what Tristan Thompson's foul rates are. I don't remember them being high, so I don't think this is going to matter all that much. Yeah, he's generally speaking pretty good at avoiding fouls, so not something you want to prepare for. Like this was Jaren Jackson Jr. and Embiid, you might have to think, oh, there's a very reasonable chance that the backup center that gets 16 minutes can get 24 because 50% of the time that dude has to sit his ass on the bench for most of it. That's probably the one thing that I wish that I could like control for in projections more. I guess that's just a higher randomness, but the direct major change in minutes.
Yeah, I was talking to Hot Magic kind of about that the other day, about how like I feel like if I could find a way to like automate minute randomness in addition to, like deviation off of a median projection, because I kind of feel like they're two different things. But
yeah, I don't disagree. I don't have anything else because we probably already talked about Cleveland way too much.
Yeah, that's enough Cleveland for me. Had a bunch of them against Washington, but then all their price tags came up.
There was a game that I didn't have the correct total for, and I want to make sure that I get that now before we keep going. I think it's one of these early ones. It was Atlanta, Denver, 214. That's going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Cantor. Something about the sentence, I was talking to Hot Magic about that the other day, makes me laugh. That's fair.
I figured if I said Andrew, there would be you and me would be the only people who knew who I was talking about.
Also very true. Ooh, I have something to plug after this, but we still have 2 more games to go. Miami and the Pistons, 112.75 implied total for the Heat, 105.75 for the Pistons. No Justice Winslow, no Derek Jones Jr., no Dion Waiters. That man's still on Pluto. I feel for you, my dude. I feel for you. Those edible, they'll get you. They'll get you. Shout out to my father-in-law. Let's talk about the Heat now. I'm not missing anybody else, right?
There's a couple questionable guys too. Hero is questionable. I think it's Olynyk is questionable.
Yeah. Okay. Butler and Bam are both around 20% ownership on both sites. A little bit of love going to Olynyk and Dragic on DK. For me personally, I would say Bam stands out the most at 6,800. Although, if Olynyk does play, 3,900 is something that I'm interested in on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's just like he's not going to come through all that often, but it is a big Detroit front court, and you do have Derek Jones out, you have Winslow out. There's certainly a path to minutes for him.
Yeah. $28 for Bam Adebayo on Yahoo might be the best price across anything here for the Heat. Pistons defense hasn't been all that fantastic so far this season. This is a slight pace down spot. What do you want to do with Bam at 6,800 is really the question, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part is that he doesn't have power forward eligibility on DraftKings anymore. He's a center on FanDuel now too, right?
Great question.
I know he was a power forward for a while.
He's a power forward.
Still, okay, so automatically a better play on FanDuel.
Yeah,
I think. Center, I would put him a little bit ahead of Tristan Thompson at that same price point, but still behind that Drummond, Embiid, Jokic tier.
We are on the same page. Let me just sort this by something else. Yeah, so I have Bam basically just behind Drummond. So Gummies dangerous. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I feel like I'm gonna have like a lot of dudes from the Heat, but nobody with a lot of volume.
I think that's a reasonable approach. Like they're obviously going to get points somewhere. They have a limited rotation due to injury. The matchup's not bad. It's just a matter of who is making the shots out of Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero if he plays. So, yeah.
$7,800 Butler.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He doesn't stand out in the context of the slate, but I think that it's a good price point. I think the guy that really stands out to me for Miami, as far as tournament plays go, that maybe goes a little bit overlooked because he hasn't been playing well lately. But we have Kendrick Nunn at 4,700 projected for 8% ownership.
Yeah,
he's not been playing well lately. His minutes have been down a little bit, but I fully expect his minutes to be there if the ball's going in the basket. So I think that with his price tag plummeting, that's a spot that I don't mind getting to.
Okay. On the Pistons side, I think that's basically one person and maybe two. I would play Drummond 10-4 on FanDuel, 8,900 DK, 15-9 fantasy draft, 5,100 on Yahoo is a bit of a tough sell, but I certainly have quite a bit of interest in Drummond. If Blake plays, I probably don't have much interest there. I don't think that the minutes are going to be there for him. And I don't really want anything else from the Pistons. They're still priced up from people being out. So what do you want to do on the Detroit side?
What about 3K Tim Frazier? He plays.
So I agree with that statement. What about 3K Tim Frazier?
So he didn't play at all in the first half yesterday, but he started the second half. Derrick Rose went back to the bench. He played like 10 and a half, a little over 10 minutes in the second half. So if you're getting like 20, 22 minutes again from Tim Frazier at 3K flat in a pace up spot, 3K is just like such a valuable price tag. It's not that I'm expecting 30 points or anything, but I guess with everyone being so underpriced, it's a little bit less valuable.
Yeah. I mean, if we get news that like Rose is sitting out the back-to-back, then obviously Tim Frazier becomes a fantastic option. But yeah, it's if you're in a 200,000 entry contest, that might be the spot to get one piece different. Going to be a tough sell, at least on an 8-gamer, unless we get a little bit different news. If Blake is out, I mean, I'm guessing we go to Markieff Morris at 4,100.
Yeah, if Blake's out, go to Morris. Get all the Drummond.
Yep. That's pretty much it for the Pistons. These guys just don't have great pricing right now.
Wow, Luke Kennard still played 40 minutes yesterday.
Craziness. Is he any good?
What'd you say?
Is he any good?
Like at actual basketball?
Yeah. Like ignoring DFS, just 22% usage for a wing right now, 77th percentile. He's an 86th percentile points per shot attempt right now, 125 points per 100 possessions. Not turning the ball over. His assist to usage rate is fantastic. Let's see what else he's doing. He doesn't get to the rim at all, but he's taking 50% of his shots from 3. Obviously, not a problem there. He's shooting 44% from 3. I assume that he is just the dirt worst defensively. Even the on-off, hasn't been great offensively or defensively, but appears to be shooting the ball well. Interesting.
Yeah, so I've seen tweets from like the Pistons beat writers just talking about like how good he's been.
Yeah, I just
at actual basketball.
I don't catch a lot of Pistons games to try and watch, Luke Kennard's rotations.
Right.
So, that was a pick that I don't think most people were super enthused for the Pistons when they made it. He is third in wins above replacement for. This will be fun. Third in wins above replacement for the Pistons so far in the new 538 Raptor metric. Andre Drummond is pretty clearly number 1. Can you tell me who has the second most wins above replacement for the Pistons?
It's either Bruce Brown or Tony Snell, probably.
0 for 2.
Christian Wood.
0 for 3.
Who the hell is it?
I don't know. That's the goal of this game.
It can't be Keith.
0 for 4.
So it is Keith?
No.
Oh, okay. I said it can't be.
Oh.
Rose?
Nope.
Is it somebody that just hasn't played and everyone else is negative?
No, he's played.
Reggie Jackson?
Nope.
Galloway?
Yes. Langston Galloway, 1 win above replacement. That one's coming under the radar.
Like Kyrie Thomas at 0.
No, Langston Galloway is like just behind him. Anxious to see where that number goes throughout the rest of the year. All right. Next game, Bulls and Knicks. I did not expect that. 109.5 for Das Bulls, 103.5 for the Knicks. And shout out to Sonny Joe Walby. I'm probably whiffing on that last name there. $5 super chat. Thanks, my dude. Should have asked a question or something. Would have been happy to answer it. But appreciate you nonetheless. Bulls 6-point favorites at home against the Knicks. No Otto Porter. And then who the hell knows what the Knicks are going to do. Ownership-wise on the Bulls, we're getting some coming into Kobe White, 4,200 on FanDuel, 4,100 on DK. He is projected for 20%. Levine, Markkanen, and Carter all in the 10 to 15 range on DK. And then Chandler Hutchison should see at least a little bit of ownership on FanDuel, 3,600, sort of the replacement for Otto Porter. I'm not really seeing much of anything from the Bulls that stands out as something I want a lot of. I'll cycle through a little bit of Levine, Markkanen, and Carter, but this is not a spot I'm looking to get to.
I'm a lot more interested in the Bulls than you are.
Ooh, okay. Talk to me.
So Kobe White, I'm hoping his ownership comes down because of how ugly his game logs are, but he did exactly what I expected last game. He played 27 minutes. He shot the ball 16 times. He made 4 of them. But he's coming off the bench. He's getting tons of usage. He should be in the closing lineup most likely. And he was Porter's direct backups. Like the minutes are there. So I think that going right back to Kobe Young after a poor shooting game is a really good idea. Lauri Markkanen had a terrible game also. He started out really well and then dropped off. But his rotation was more or less in line with what we had seen the prior game, where he was getting some backup center minutes behind Wendell Carter. They weren't exactly staggered. Luke Cornett played about 4 minutes in the first half and 2 minutes in the second half. But for the most part, Carter and Markkanen were staggered. So you're getting more minutes at the 5 for Markkanen, which means more rebound chances, but it also means more minutes, because for a lot of this season, we've seen Markkanen kind of stuck in like the 30-minute range because Thaddeus Young has to get his minutes, and Thaddeus Young was basically splitting 48 minutes with Markkanen. With Markkanen playing the 5 and playing minutes alongside Young, it makes it so he can get to 34, 35 minutes now. He's not priced even close to 34, 35 minutes, especially if some of those minutes are coming at center. So I think it's a really, really good spot to get on Markkanen. I already mentioned I like White. And then Wendell Carter Jr. also playing bigger minutes now. Played 30 minutes against Houston. The game was a blowout. They didn't play anyone for the last 5 minutes of the game. We've seen a couple games, around 31, 32 minutes, and he's pretty cheap with power forward eligibility on DraftKings. So I would say White and Markkanen are my priorities, but then Wendell Carter Jr. should be low owned and gives you a lot of upside. And then Levine, we know that he can score.
Yeah, I mean, they look like guys that show up in my lineups and not guys that are always in my lineups. So I don't have any issue with Levine, Markkanen, Carter, White. Those are the 4 guys that are going to be standing out the most for me. I wouldn't expect more than 5 to 10% of any of them.
I would expect I end up with just massive amounts of Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, 6,400 does look good. I have him in for 32 minutes right now. Might be something that I need to take a look at. 0.97 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. Has not been fantastic.
I'm trying to pull up numbers last year to see how he did when he played center, because I remember towards the end of last year his rebounding numbers just going through the roof, and I think that was part of it.
That I also remember. You're what?
But,
take Carter off, Robin Lopez off?
Yeah, Carter, Lopez, Portis. There he is. I couldn't find Lopez.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and Felicio. So he played last season. He played 189 minutes without any of those guys on the floor. Averaged 1.32 points per minute.
that would make him very relevant at 6,400. I'll pay attention to that. That is going to be one of the pieces that I dig into. Let's go to the Knicks now. So I think we need to start with Julius Randle being projected for 31% ownership on FanDuel at 7,700. He's in the 20s on DK, as is RJ Barrett. But the guy that everybody's going to want to talk about here, since we got to talk about Narrative Street, what do you want to do with Bobby Portis against the Bulls?
I mean, I assume he's going to go nuts like he always does. Wendell Carter specifically said that would not be happening. So take that for whatever it's worth. He got 28 and a half minutes last game, so it was good to at least see him, getting more run. Taj Gibson played like half a minute in the second quarter. Looking at their rotation, the potential issue is that Portis isn't playing alongside Gibson at all. So there's going to be, some percentage of games where Gibson plays like 24 minutes and Portis plays 24 minutes. But my expectation would be that you get like 28 from Portis, 20 from Gibson.
Okay. I assume that you're relatively indifferent to Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
As am I. Guy I like the most here is probably Barrett at 5,900. I think that's the best price tag of anybody here. I don't mind the $7,700 tag on Randall, but I hate this damn team. Does DSJ play today?
I don't know. I was just laughing because I pulled up Bobby Portis game logs against the Bulls.
And?
52.3 DraftKings points. That was this year. 43.5, 30.3, and 33.5.
Oh. I'm going to go ahead and put the narrative adjustment to Bobby Portis at blank because
1.32 points per minute.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. No one on the Knicks is north of a point per minute on FanDuel this season. Bobby Portis is at 0.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about the narrative. So
no, me neither. Me neither. I just know because the reason I don't care about it is because, and obviously you get this, but I can't. If I were to just start adjusting every player that I think there's going to be some sort of revenge factor, like that they might care more, I'm going to be wrong more than I'm not, and you can't quantify it, and you can't, guess which ones you're going to be right on. I am very well aware that at, what's the game started by 8:30, I'm gonna be really pissed that I don't have more Bobby Portis.
There you go. There is nothing less important than saying Bobby Portis is averaging 39 fantasy points versus the Bulls. Absolutely nothing less important. You know what is important? We have a giveaway going on for the NHL. If you head to Awesemo_com, that is our Twitter handle, you can win an NHL season pass today. All you have to do is guess the player that scores the most fantasy points on tonight's NHL slate. Big 9-gamer. Retweet, like, and reply to this tweet. You got to be following the Awesemo_com and Awesemo NHL account. But just guess the player that scores the most fantasy points, and you could win. I know I'm going to be guessing Mark Lemieux, so I should be set. I don't know anything about hockey, man. No clue. I probably couldn't name 10 dudes.
Did you just say Mark Lemieux?
Yeah. Is he not active?
Or
yeah, he's like 55 years old.
His name's also Mario?
Yeah, that's how much I don't know hockey.
When you asked if he wasn't active, I thought maybe there was like a new Lemieux.
Now, so I was thinking about Mark Messier when I was about to make that joke because I was a Rangers fan because of NHLPA 93 for Sega. So Mike Gartner, also nasty. Brian Leach, nasty. That's all I know about hockey. I do know the names of like 3 or 4 people that Jake had me make thumbnails for. So those would be the names that I could say out loud. But I
can definitely name more hockey players from like the 90s and 2000s than I can from now.
Oh, 1,000%. Also, I should have just said Wayne Gretzky. That would have been way easier.
Yeah. Warren Gretzky.
I'm a fucking moron. Shout out to Anthony Davis in chat. With that hat Josh is wearing, I suddenly have an urge to play Mario. Love the context. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the super chat, man, and we really appreciate it. So go to Awesemo_com. Check out the giveaway. You can win You can win hockey content that will be good coming from Jake and the rest of the hockey crew, because you don't want to come to me for it. I'm obviously a complete moron.
Did the Pistons really draft Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, they drafted Luke Kennard before Donovan Mitchell. It's kind of a crapshoot. I don't get mad at that stuff. I mean, it seemed weird at the time, too. It seemed weird to draft Luke Kennard that early, not necessarily before Donovan Mitchell. Yeah.
Right.
It was a relative thing, but nobody knew that Donovan Mitchell was going to be Donovan Mitchell. The reason he was that far down.
One of the only guys that, like, cause I hate preseason DFS, and normally I don't think there's a whole lot to be gained from it as far as the regular season goes. But he was one guy who, if I hadn't been forced to do preseason NBA content that year, it would have taken me so long to get on Donovan Mitchell his rookie year. But I was just rostering him immediately because I was just like, this guy was shooting 20 times a night in the preseason, and now they're giving him minutes.
Closing off the plugs, NBA Showdown ownership will be free tonight. NHL rankings also free tonight. Please hit that like button on this video. Helps us put that free content out into the ether. So go ahead and do that. Coming up later today, we've got Laffy and Sal taking their first look at Week 11 in the NFL. That'll be at 11 a.m. Ben and Tim will be back at 2:30 for the PGA Strategy Show. Jake's got the NHL show where he will name the correct NHL players. That happens at 4. Alex will be back on the Game Plan show, 4 p.m. behind the paywall. Laffy and Adam will be here for the deeper dive at 5 p.m. And then Fast Eddie Fear and Chris Randone on NBA Live Before Lock from 6 to 7. This Rin Pack. Hit the like button, otherwise we will mute Eddie tonight. That's an actual message I got today. Do you think we should attach likes to muting Eddie until we hit the level? I was like, kinda, but I think people will lose their minds. How great would it be if the like button unlocked the volume?
Right.
If only we could set that up.
You would have but then you have people that prefer certain hosts, so you'd have people like downvoting it to like keep Eddie muted longer.
No. Like you control it individually. If you hit like, you get to hear the show.
Oh, okay. I'm following. Yeah.
That would be so awesome. Because I liked that idea the Rimpak tossed to me, and I was just like, that's great, but like once you hit like, then you're at the mercy of everyone else, and there's nothing else you can do to like
peer pressure.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously peer pressure works, but it's got its downsides to some people. I was a big fan of it as a kid. I needed that kick in the ass. How else do you impress girls if you don't feel like your buddies are gonna make a dick out of you if you don't do something?
Fair.
That's all I ever did. Anyway, we've got 4 more games to go. The 9 o'clock start. Denver Nuggets, Atlanta Hawks, 113.25 implied total for the Nuggets. 101.25 for the Hawks. We'll start on the Nugs side. Jokic, around 20% expected ownership on FanDuel and DK. He's got a fantastic price across the industry. He's one of my favorite plays of the day. The reports of the demise of Nikola Jokic have been greatly exaggerated. After that, there's some ownership going to Millsap, some ownership going to Harris. I'm relatively indifferent to everybody here outside of Jokic.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for me. Should get his 32 to 34 minutes. We've talked about it a lot. There's nothing really different to say. The team is essentially the same as last year. He's 24 years old. There's no reason to think he's like just not good anymore. We see stretches every year where he's less aggressive than his teammates would like him to be and than he should be. And then he snaps out of it and he goes back to being Jokic. There's absolutely no reason not to be rostering him at this price point.
Yep. There's no reason that he should ever be $8,300 on DraftKings.
Right.
He's my favorite center on FanDuel, where he's $1,400 cheaper than Andre Drummond and $1,800 cheaper than Joel Embiid. I want to have a lot of Jokic. After that, I'm pretty much good.
And oh, by the way, his last 2 games, he has shot the ball 23 and 22 times.
Yep. And hit 2 game winners.
Yeah.
Love that dude. I really
Still
do.
not doing great from a fantasy standpoint, but
No.
at least he's shooting.
Yeah. I mean, when you price at 8,300, you get a little bit more wiggle room now too.
I really wish he would start having big games, if only so that, because it makes me really mad when I look at his game logs. And the only time he's had a monster game this year was that time that I really needed him not to.
I don't have anything else to add for the rest of the Nuggets. If you like, they are just filler.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up with a good amount of Millsap again because I always do, but that's just more of a tournament leverage spot.
On the Hawks side, no Vince Carter again tonight. Undisclosed reasons, which kind of a bummer because it doesn't seem to be an injury. So I hope everything's okay for old VC. But we've got Trey Young at 9,600 on FanDuel, 9,200 on DraftKings. I like Trey Young and all. I'm not so sure I'm going to get a ton. He's around 10 to 15% owned across both sites. We've got Jabari at 7,200 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DraftKings. I'd say the $7,200 price tag on FanDuel is most appealing. After that, I'm not super interested in most of the Hawks. What do you want to do with Trey Young?
Yeah, so I'm not really interested in anything with the Hawks except for Trey Young. It's a really tough matchup. Denver plays at the slowest pace in the league. It's in Denver. Really tough spot, but you do know that Young is going to be very involved in the offense. He should play a ton of minutes, assuming the game's competitive. Played about 38 in regulation in their last game. So, he is easily my favorite play from Atlanta. When you start comparing like across positions, though, I still would rather in that price range get to any of, Drummond, Jokic, Embiid, plenty of other guys on the slate that I like a little bit more.
Compare him to Kyrie and Dame. They are separated by like, $100 or $200 or something like that on DK.
I like Dame more.
Okay.
I think it's pretty comparable to Kyrie, where they're both monster usage guys. I expect Young to play a couple more minutes if we assume both games are competitive. Really tough matchup for Kyrie too.
No LeVert.
So I think that right. Yeah, but like how much more can his usage rate go up?
Oh, for sure. I'm just, added feature of this.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, so I think that Young and Kyrie are comparable. I think that Lillard, because of matchups, a little bit ahead of them.
There's no way that Nikola Jokic is fat, right?
How are you defining fat?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, he's being called like fat in chat. He's not fat at all, right? Like, he's probably got like a staggeringly low like body fat content for what anybody would think it is.
I don't know. He definitely is like flabby.
Is he flat? Is he just like round?
Like I'm sure that he looks better at a pool than 98% of the people watching this video.
It's true. Like I don't,
and definitely 100% of the people on the video.
Yes. Yeah, I would guess that if he took the jersey top off, that he would be like way more muscular than anyone would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think compared to an NBA player, he's probably like third percentile in terms of like physique.
Agreed. He's got man boobs, dad bod for sure. He doesn't have those things. He does not have a dad bod. No shot. No shot. You think he's got like a belly? Come on.
Right. Yeah. He runs too much for that.
You got like the amount he has to burn so many calories.
Right.
Yeah, he's just.
But I mean, I think like as far as the argument goes for our purposes, he has never looked different his entire time in the league.
Ooh, yeah, agreed. So Christian in. Oh, okay, yeah. If that picture is even remotely relevant, we're good. Dave posted a picture in Slack of him flipping a tire. There's no dad bod to be found in that picture. Not even close.
Yeah.
That is just a normal human being, but a 7-foot normal human being. Making that tire look like a normal tire.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. We're good now. We're good. Josh finds every single way to hate chat. I mean, to be fair, you guys make it real easy. Also, this is like the least I hate chat question. I just never really thought about it. But yeah, based on the picture that just got posted Slack, he's just fit. I think he's just round. A lot of potatoes in his life or something.
Yeah, that's just like that's a body type thing. It's not a fat thing.
Yeah. Yes, he's clearly more out of shape this year. Do you watch the games, bro? Yeah, bro. Phoenix and Lakers, 107.5 implied total for the Suns, 112 for the Lakers. On the Suns side, Booker around 14% ownership, Oubre around 10. Not much else coming up here. Oubre's the guy that probably stands out most to me just because of the position, but I don't get the sense that I want much of Phoenix. Phoenix defense been really good this year. Obviously, the Lakers has been fantastic.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading something in chat. Yeah, Phoenix, I think they've been getting a bit lucky on wide open threes. I haven't double checked that stat, but that was definitely something earlier in the season that was making their defense look better than normal. But they do have some length now. Baines being at center should make them better defensively. So yeah, I think that overall it's just the pace of this game isn't really that appealing. I do like the pricing on LeBron and Davis, obviously. I think that Kuzma has a shot at getting 26 to 28 minutes, which is pretty nice at his salary.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, I guess. I just don't know what to do with this Suns team. Ricky Rubio at 7,700 on both sites is not something that I was expecting this season.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Yeah. 1.17 FanDuel points per minute so far this season. I did not expect a Ricky Rubio renaissance in Phoenix given their medical staff and the fact that Ricky Rubio is aging and wasn't exactly good recently.
Really taking stats away from Booker.
Yeah. Really taking DFS stats away from Booker. It's obviously...
I mean, his usage is down like 6% from last year. His assist percentage is down a ton.
Yeah. I think that's for the good of the team, but not helpful in the way that we're explaining it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lakers side, this should be pretty easy. AD and LeBron both play here. They're separated by $200 on FanDuel. AD more expensive. LeBron, $500 more expensive on DraftKings. Significantly more expensive on Fantasy Draft. AD more expensive on Yahoo. AD for 52 on Yahoo is probably my favorite price across all of this. But I would say that I prefer AD to LeBron in this spot.
I think I prefer LeBron. Yeah, I mean, especially like right now on DraftKings, we have LeBron way lower owned.
Unowned, essentially.
Yeah. I expected it to be the other way around because people are concerned about Davis's injuries and whatever. I think Davis is a really good play. He's should really never be $10,000. The flip side to that is that all those other centers shouldn't be their prices either. LeBron's just been so involved as a playmaker too that it gives him such a high floor, and then he's obviously got a monster ceiling also. Yeah, I mean, I guess for 500 less, I would give. I think Davis is better value, but I don't really think he should be like 9 times his own as LeBron.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. Let me just make sure. Rondo is questionable again. So there's that. Troy Daniels is questionable. I don't think that will matter at all. You want anything from the Lakers?
In addition to Davis and James, I think Kuzma. Potentially, he's 4,600 on DraftKings. He played about 24 minutes last game, had the potential for a little bit more. He didn't close the first half, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Didn't close the first half, closed the second half. They, said he's not on a minutes limit, so it's probably just kind of a logical increase in minutes. So I could see him getting 26 to 28 here. Usage should take a hit playing with Davis and LeBron, but also coming off the bench is nice for him. Looking at who was on the floor when he subs in, he got a good amount of time with just one of the two on the floor. So not a core play, but he would be my third favorite guy from the Lakers.
Yeah, if he's unowned, I think it makes for an interesting spot to grab someone with some upside. At some point in time, he's probably just going to play more minutes and we don't see it coming that day, and then that's our new calibration point. Other than that, I'm pretty much not here. It's really hard to recommend anybody else. They're all like 0.7 FanDuel point per minute guys, and they all play the same amount of minutes. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Would you rather have Anthony Davis or Joel Embiid? I think this one's pretty easy.
Joel Embiid.
AD or Drummond?
At 8,900, probably Drummond.
Okay, and then Jokic is Jokic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's the thing is, I'm gonna end up with so many lineups that just have like multiples of those guys.
Yeah.
Like they're all top tier plays to me.
Yeah. The guy that falls off for me is probably like Sabonis at 8,400, Kevin Love at 8,200 for these bigger guys. Not that I don't like Sabonis, but again, when Jokic is $100 cheaper than him, it just kind of makes the decision for you.
Did you remember to factor in the revenge narrative for Sabonis?
Forgot he was ever on Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
He probably tries to forget that too. Standing out at the top of the key, shooting threes.
Yeah, such a different player.
It's night and day. Shout out to Russ. I don't have anything else here. Let's move on. Utah Jazz, Brooklyn Nets. Jazz 111.75 implied total. Okay, Krisky. Kobe better than LeBron. Can't do this. 111.75 implied total for the Jazz. 105.25 for the Nets. For the Jazz, looks like we could be getting Emmanuel Mudiay back today.
He was back yesterday.
Looks like we got Emmanuel Mudiay back yesterday. Should be back again today. All things considered. I forgot that he was in yesterday. I knew that. It's literally on the screen. Anyway, let's talk Gobert. Let's talk Donnie Mitchell. 4 guys on FanDuel in double digits in exposure. Nobody getting a ton, but all the way up to 20% for Gobert at 8,200. Gobert, Mitchell, and Conley all in the like 15-ish % range. I really like Gobert for 8,200 on FanDuel and 7,500 on DraftKings. 30 on Yahoo in particular looks great. There's just so much value at center tonight. What do you want to do with Gobert?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's in that conversation if you can't quite get to the top tier guys. I think finally had a big game last night. He'd been pretty disappointing this season. But yeah, projects, really well for me. Huge pace up spot for Utah. I still would give, the edge to Jokic, Drummond, Embiid. But I think that if you end up, in that $7,500 range on DraftKings, that it's a good play.
Okay. Mike Conley now up to 0.8 FanDuel points per minute, slowly climbing out of the gutter.
And the usage is still there.
Yeah. I expect him. He might be aging before our eyes aggressively, just not getting to the rim, and I think that matters. This is a big time pace up spot for Utah. I might be a little bit more interested than I first thought.
I agree. It's not, there's nobody on the team that's like jumping out as I expect him to be in 65% of my lineups, but there are a lot of guys jumping out where I expect to have like 1 or 2 of them mixed in just because they're high upside values at their salaries. Like in addition to Gobert, you have Mitchell. Conley is affordable. Even Bojan Bogdanovic, still has a 26% usage rate this year, and he's playing like 34 plus minutes in competitive games.
What happened to Joe Ingles this season?
He started out good yesterday, and then I'm guessing fell off.
He's been bad. 0.68 FanDuel points per minute so far.
12.8% usage rate for Ingles.
It's brutal.
It's frustrating because his price point's gotten so low where it's like, that you expect he's going to break out of this and at some point, and he's going to just like break a slate at 4,500. But also there's no numbers that I can put in to make me, get to him a whole lot.
No, not at all. El Negro Loco says Bogdanovic is what happened to Ingles.
Yeah.
But it's even worse than that. Like he's just expecting him to still knock down
usage
shots.
for Bogdanovic is pretty insane.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's definitely getting less opportunity, but he's also been bad when given the opportunity. So let me pull him up here. I just want to look and see like if he's just shooting in a way that you wouldn't. So he's shooting 32 in a situation where you should expect Joe Ingles to be getting cleaner looks now. He's shooting 32% from 3. The past 5 seasons, 39, 44, 45, and 40. You have to assume that is just bad luck.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Joe Ingles is suddenly taking more difficult threes and shooting significantly worse. He's one of the best shooters in the league based on those rates. So I'm anxious to see if that changes. Go to the Brooklyn side. No Karis LeVert today. Kyrie is 9,900 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. The only guy north of 10% in ownership. I have a real hard time wanting to get to Kyrie in this spot, no matter how much usage he gets. Well, that's not true. If he got 100% usage, I would be really interested in Kyrie.
He has 113 minutes without LeVert this year, 33.7% usage. So, as you would expect, just monster usage no matter what. The minutes have been trending up a little bit, which is nice, but still just a slow, good defensive team. I don't dislike Kyrie, but I would rather get Lillard. And then, Trey Young is pretty comparable.
Yeah. Jazz have limited fantasy performance by 9% this season. So it's just a massive, tough spot. Pace down. You can talk me into Jared Allen at 5K on FanDuel. It's a decent way to get a power forward. Taurean Prince has not been great lately. I'd be okay with a couple shares there. Do you think Dinwiddie gets enough minutes from LeVert being out, or is this does this become your boy? Did you have a dream about Garrett Temple last night?
I did not. So pulling up the rotation against Phoenix, it sucks because LeVert didn't get hurt in the first half. But Temple was he subbed in for him. LeVert was then subbing in for Kyrie. Their rotation is a mess. I would expect that I would expect the closing lineup in a competitive game to be Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Harris, Prince, Allen.
Okay. I was going to say, do you think we see more DeAndre Jordan because of Gobert?
Okay, or DeAndre Jordan.
Well, I think that kind of affects Jared Allen because he's a power forward on FanDuel, which is oddly appealing.
Right, okay, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much Kenny Atkinson's going to play that matchup there. Yeah. I do think that we'll find out with the starting lineup. This could very easily be a game where Jordan starts.
Yeah, that would not shock me at all if DeAndre Jordan was starting in this game. They seem to be bouncing around for that sort of stuff. This strikes me as that kind of game because Rudy Gobert has no stretch whatsoever. So if you're ever going to be starting DeAndre Jordan, this would probably be that game. Otherwise, I'm not really keen on Brooklyn.
I was just looking to see how Utah's been at defending pick and roll this year. They haven't been bad. They haven't been great. They're 52nd percentile defending pick and roll ball handlers. Kyrie, obviously, one of the leaders.
Yeah. Been known to be in a pick and roll from time to time. I don't have anything else for Jazz Nets. You want to close this out? This one's got a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Sacramento Kings, Portland Trailblazers, late night hammer, and it's going to be a doozy. 113 point. This I have to have that entered incorrectly. There's no way this is correct. Portland by 2, as I expected. Line opened at Sacramento by 1. Portland 22. Okay, let's read those off again. 110 implied total for the Kings. 112 for the Blazers. We are going to not be seeing De'Aaron Fox for a hot minute. Pretty bad sprained ankle. It's the same grade sprain that Lonzo Ball had last season, which ended up ending his season. Obviously had some complications as well, but it's going to be a bit for Fox. So we'll start Rashawn Holmes, 6,400 on FanDuel, 5,400 on DraftKings, 10, 4, and 19 on Fantasy Draft and Yahoo. It's getting ownership, 35% on FanDuel, 27 on DraftKings. Unless I'm seeing something weird, he's going to be one of my most owned players today.
Yeah, I think the price tag's pretty favorable. You haven't gotten a whole lot of production out of him lately, but with the price tag coming down and with power forward eligibility, I think that there's a pretty nice ceiling.
Yeah, he's popping off the page as my best value on all of DraftKings.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Is that craziness?
I think so. How many minutes do you have him at?
30?
Yeah, I'm nowhere close to that. I mean, to best value on DraftKings.
Okay. I'm a big proponent of Rashawn Holmes for today. And then
I'd rather play Lauri Markkanen than Rashawn Holmes.
I would rather have Rashawn
Even factoring
Holmes.
in $1,000.
Okay. I would rather have Holmes. I have Holmes a half point behind Markkanen.
I have Holmes at like less than a point per minute.
Okay. I think you're probably too low there.
I'm using his rates from this year.
0.98 so far this season.
Yeah, I'm at 0.96.
Okay. Big fan. Slight pace up spot. Slightly solid defensive matchup. But we got to really talk about Corey Joseph. 3,700 on FanDuel, 3,700 on DraftKings. Should see the big minutes bump with Fox out. Do we have anything interesting to say here other than he is just the obvious guard value for today?
He sucks.
That's true.
At DFS at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's whatever. You're going to get 30 minutes out of a cheap point guard. Yeah. So
42% ownership on FanDuel, 28 on DraftKings. The FanDuel one obviously makes sense. You have to have 2 point guards. He is, to me, the best value that you could pay down for. Your only other option, really, Aaron Holiday or Kobe White. I'll have no problem going to Corey Joseph here. What do you want to do with the rest of these guys? Bogdan, Buddy Hield, Harry Barnes, who's been playing monster minutes again.
Yeah, I think Hield gets a little bit of a bump just usage-wise without Fox.
Yeah.
Even if not so much in terms of median usage, I think the ceiling obviously is higher when you don't have to share the ball with Fox. Bogdan's the one that I think is really interesting because his price tag isn't really that appealing, at least at 5,400 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a chance that he just really plays better, has the ball in his hands more. I don't think it would be very surprising to see, him kind of kicking Corey Joseph to the side and taking over the offense. So that's a spot that I like kind of as like it's not really a leverage play to Joseph because they're completely different price points and you can play them together. But as someone who probably does negatively correlate a bit with a really popular Joseph.
No way you get to like Yogi Ferrell, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't expect him to get enough minutes in this scenario.
Bogdan's played 120 minutes without Fox on the floor this year, 29.1% usage rate, and 31.1% assist percentage.
Wow.
I'm looking to see how that compares to last season.
That's a big number.
It is. Corey Joseph, Bogdan's played the second most minutes on the team without Fox on the floor. Corey Joseph was first. So last season, if I take off De'Aaron Fox, it's pretty much the same team, right? Yeah.
Holmes,
so
Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't think.
Yeah,
that
but
matters.
I left Bagley and Cauley-Stein, so that makes up for Holmes.
Bagley is probably the piece of that like would skew it more. Holmes, Willie Cauley-Stein is probably a wash.
Yeah. So if I don't control for any of those guys, you get 944 minutes for Bogdanovic, 26.5% usage, 24.3% assist percentage. If I also take off Bagley, and he averaged 1.03 DraftKings points per minute. If you also take off Bagley, you get 348 minutes, 29% usage, 26.7% assist percentage, 1.08 points per minute.
Yeah, that's a big number. 19% owned on FanDuel right now, 16 on DraftKings. I would keep an eye on Bogdan's ownership, especially if it stays in that range. I wonder who this is. Bye. Sorry we banned you yesterday in Slack. I'm not actually sorry. I'm actually real happy about it. It was incredibly fulfilling. I'm just bummed that I didn't get to do it and Nolan stole it from me. But shouts to Nolan for getting a Slack ban under your belt. Really satisfying. Let's go to the Portland side. Dame Lillard, 10-5 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DraftKings. I don't have a ton of interest in Dame here.
I do. Among point guards, I think he's one of the better options. The issue is, when you're talking DraftKings, there's no real such thing as positions.
Yeah.
So you have to compare Lillard to a bunch of other guys that I like a little bit more.
Right. Like, would you rather pay the extra 1,000 for LeBron or have Lillard?
Lillard.
Okay. Lillard over Kyrie, Lillard over Trey?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I think Lillard's in a situation where I would get more of him because there's so much extra money to go around.
Right.
Hassan Whiteside, 8,500 on FanDuel, 6,900 on DraftKings, 27 on Yahoo. Just add him to the list of like reasonable value plays that can play center.
Yeah, minutes have been up a bit. Played 30 in regulation last game. We saw 32 recently. Saw a couple games at 28. So, yeah, I think Whiteside's a good play.
12% projected ownership on DK. 8,500 on FanDuel is a bit of a tough sell given where everybody else is priced. Like, I think that Whiteside is a good option today. I would rather have Rudy Gobert $300 less. I would very obviously have Nikola Jokic for $500 more. I think Whiteside is just a matter of circumstance on this slate for FanDuel. DK at 6,900 is just a different story altogether.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Getting to any of the Portland value, Bazemore, Hazonia, Simon?
Probably not with Hood question, or Hood's probable.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that Hood is viable at 3,400. It's just an annoying price point because he doesn't do anything, but he's also really cheap.
What a fall from grace there. I mean, there was that stretch on Utah where I thought he was just going to get paid, and then it was off to Cleveland, off to Portland, and you're just... I don't think he did himself any favors when he refused to go back into that game for Cleveland. Sorry, Rod. I don't have anything else for Portland here. Any CJ? I guess we didn't even mention him.
Yeah, secondary play for me. Like I have Lillard ahead of CJ. I have Whiteside ahead of CJ.
Okay. All right, let's sum it up. Favorite plays of the day for DraftKings for you?
Embiid, Brogdon, Jokic, Markkanen.
Perfect. Aaron Holiday, Corey Joseph are my faves at point guard. Just value going to be there on FanDuel. Shooting guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Donovan Mitchell, but shooting guard is looking kind of rough for me. At small forward, give me some Braun, Jakar Sampson if you need to pay down. Power forward's going to be pretty loaded, honestly. Rashawn Holmes, Anthony Davis, Bam, Randall, Markkanen, Jabari. Lots to like there. It's going to be interesting to see my exposures. And then at center, it's going to be Jokic, Gobert, Drummond, Embiid. All right. Hide user on this channel. No. Looks like somebody else got him too. Fair enough. I don't have anything else. Guys, hit the like button. We are done. 10:55. We actually got through 8 games at a reasonable amount of time and have enough time to throw it to Laffy and Sal, who will be doing their first Week 11 NFL breakdown right after this. Tons of content coming out throughout the day. Tons of shows coming out throughout the day. Adam, you don't have anything else other than the deeper dive, correct?
Correct.
There we go. Guys, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Check out Awesemo_com, the Twitter account, so you can try to win a free month of, or not a free month, a free NHL pass. Don't come to me for NHL questions because I don't have the answers. I've got answers, but they're not the right ones. And we will be back tomorrow for the strategy show, myself and Sal. So tune in. Last chance, Adam. Anything else?
Nope.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. We are out. Adios.